study. The panelists are on today's webinar are Farzin Avari from the United States, Nazneen Mistry, also based in the United States, and Zenhar Marolia, who is in the United Kingdom. The person who will bring things together is Karishma Koka, and she's the synthesizer, and she's based in London. This webinar is coming to you through the auspices of the World Zoroastrian Chamber of Commerce, and the mantra for the World Zoroastrian Chamber of Commerce is building the spirit of entrepreneurship. Now, this is a very important idea, the idea of entrepreneurship. So what is entrepreneurship? It is the pursuit of opportunity beyond resources control. So many of you are talking about finances and things like that, but you also have to think in terms of resources, that those are your own capabilities. So entrepreneurship is defined in three ways. One is business entrepreneurship, where the focus is to make money. The other is social entrepreneurship, where the focus is to make money and make a difference in the lives of others. So for example, teachers, professors, these folks are involved in social entrepreneurship. And the third is academic entrepreneurship. And the focus there is the creation and dissemination of knowledge. So it is in that context that the Zoroastrian Faculty Network has been established and is working with the World Zoroastrian Chamber of Commerce to facilitate the enhancement of entrepreneurship in the Zoroastrian community. So the plan for the conversation today. So this is not where we come along and say, do this, do this, do that. We are interested in facilitating a conversation between the people who are signed on and the panelists. So I'm spending about 5 minutes with the opening, what this webinar is about. Then the panelists will introduce themselves. Then each panelist will talk about their academic journey with the intent of helping you understand what questions you would like to ask them, and seeding the webinar so that you know what questions to ask them. Then we will, Karishma will come along and invite you to ask questions for clarification. This is not a time to ask the questions of interest, but the questions for clarification. So you would ask the panelist and say, hey, you said this, could you tell me a little more about this? You said this, could you tell me a little more about this? Then after that, we have a dialogue where you can ask anything you want, and it'll be moderated, and we will have the dialogue going along so that everybody benefits from it. And then there will be some closing remarks. Just to set your mind at ease, we are looking at so who are we and what are we about? It's the World Zoroastrian Chamber of Commerce in partnership with the Zarathustra faculty and academia. We envision empowering Zarathustra students to learn how to create economic, cultural, and intellectual value. The ZFN mission is to facilitate Zoroastrian youth through higher and specialized education to pursue careers in industry, government, and academia as business entrepreneurs, social entrepreneurs, and knowledge entrepreneurs. The webinars are conversations to help Zoroastrian youth with support of their parents to attain higher and specialized education. This initiative is supported by the R.D. Setna Scholarship Funds. So it is my pleasure now to introduce Zenhar. Zenhar will give you an insight into his journey from Bombay to London and how he completed his education, got a job visa, and became a citizen of the UK. He has a passion for entrepreneurship and will elaborate upon both academic as well as business entrepreneurship. So with that, Zenhar, the screen is yours.
Hi, Farrokh. Hi, everyone. Thank you for dialing in today, and thank you for the wonderful introduction. This is my wife, Meher, and I. Just to let you know a little bit about myself, I studied in Campion School in Bombay and Jai Hind. So I did my 10th and 12th. I then did my undergraduate education at the University of Nottingham in civil engineering. And while I was doing that, I got a job in the UK, and I did a master's at Cambridge. Post that, I did an MBA from the London School of Economics. I just completed that. So I think there was someone on this call who mentioned that they want to study at LSE. I'm happy for you to be in touch, and I'm happy to help in any way I can. My passion is entrepreneurship, both academic as well as business entrepreneurship. So I've opened my own property development business in the United Kingdom and my own consultancy firm, which I work with the Houses of Parliament. And my plan for the future is to return to India and be an entrepreneur and help other Parsi entrepreneurs realize their dreams, hopes, and aspirations. I'll hand you over to Nazneen now, who'll talk about her study and her journey, which she took from Bombay to the United States, where she's studying in New Jersey in finance. So Nazneen, over to you.
Yeah. Hello, everybody. I'm Nazneen Mistry, and I am located in New Brunswick, New Jersey, and I'm born and brought up in Mumbai. I have pursued my Bachelor of Commerce and Masters of Commerce Part 1 from University of Mumbai back in India, and I've currently pursued my Masters of Financial Analysis from Rutgers University of New Jersey. And currently, I've been looking out for job positions in the finance field, and I'm really, really happy to assess the youth to achieve their goals ahead and help them build their career. And next would be my colleague Farzin Avari. She will tell us about a journey and the importance to building your professional network. Farzin, the floor is yours.
Hi, thank you, Nazneen. I'm Farzin Avari. I currently live in Atlanta, Georgia. I got my bachelor's degree in psychology at the University of Georgia. I then continued to get my Master's of Arts in Science Education at Kennesaw State University. I'm currently a virtual school teacher where I mentor students on their career path at Georgia Connections and my 2 alma maters. So next, I'll pass it back to Zenhar.
Thank you, Farzin. Thank you for that. Guys, so I'll just spend a few minutes just letting you know a bit about myself, my academic journey, what were those lessons from that academic journey, and planning where to study, what my piece of advice would be, and issues for young Zoroastrians who want to leave their homelands in Iran, Pakistan, or India and study abroad, especially with a focus on the United Kingdom. So my academic journey, I come from a business family background. Business is something that we're very passionate about. It's something that we care about deeply. My parents, who are on this call, very aspirational parents, we always believed that tomorrow had to be better than today. I chose civil engineering because I wanted to further the family business. The family business is into interior contracting. So I was literally born on construction sites. So that's why that was something that I was passionate about. Also, I wanted to gain knowledge and enjoy my career. And my mentors are my family. People I look up to are Shapurji Palanji and Jarbai Wadia for obvious reasons, because there's a lot of construction that is involved in their lives. So what are the lessons from my academic journey? Scholarships and study abroad. Like everyone has said, the scholarships is something that we always care about. How do we, from India, Pakistan, or Iran, how do we pay for our wants to study abroad in a foreign country? Also internships and the career center. I would always advise anyone to try to get the internships early, because that gives you a key insight into the job market. And it's never too early to liaise with your career center. Goldman Sachs, for example, closes its applications in October, literally 1 month after you've joined university. So it's never too early to get involved with the career center, get in touch and try to see where the internships are. And aim to get performance-based scholarship. This is what my father tried to teach me. He's like, rather than focusing on just student jobs or getting low-paid student jobs to sustain yourself while you're studying abroad, try to get performance-based scholarships. And that does 2 things. It improves your academic grades, and it also gives you the scholarships and recognition, which helps you in your job applications later on. Now, planning where to study. Of course, everyone has their own likes and places where they'd like to go. Obviously, the United States, United Kingdom, Australia, Canada, New Zealand, etc., or Singapore. For me, the UK was a familiar choice. My family was over here, and I visited the country. And obviously, it was close to India, where I could just hop into a flight and be home in a direct flight within 10 or 12 hours. So that was something that mattered to me. I got a master's degree within 4 years. So right after my +2 or science education in India, what we call the HSC, I had a master's degree by 22. I could start earning money. In the UK, you can get citizenship within 5 years of working, guaranteed, doesn't matter which country you're from. And then it was close to Europe. I loved traveling, so I could travel around Europe as well. So that's what influenced my decisions. Challenges, I would say, acclimatization, the climate and the food. It's quite different to Bombay. Seeing snowfall for the first time, dark winter nights. This is something that I was just not used to growing up in Bombay. Issues for young Zoroastrians. So what I would say is look at what the post-graduation work visa is in that country before you go to that country. You might love to go there, but if the visa situation is a bit hostile, just take that into consideration. So think about the next steps. Calculate what your return on investment is. That is always important in any business decision. And especially at that age, if you're going to spend money on a foreign education, you have to see what is your return on investment. What are the job opportunities? What do they pay in those jobs? And how you'll then pay back your loans, scholarships, or whatever you've borrowed from friends and family. And the local Zoroastrian organizations, I think that's something that's quite important. The diaspora, especially a Zoroastrian diaspora, is very vibrant. We've been outside our homelands for a while now, so we have entrenched diaspora communities. Get involved with them, get involved with your youth organizations. You'll make friends over there, but you have to be willing to put yourself out there, because you won't know anyone because they'll all have grown up together, but you have to go there and speak to people. So that's what I would say the issues for the young Zoroastrians. Now I'll hand you over to Nazneen, who will tell you about her journey and her challenges.
So I'll talk about my academic journey. I belong to a family where education and career holds a very high value. My parents have always been a major pillar to my success, and I would always recommend all of you all to always speak to your parents, consult your parents about whatever you want to study ahead, and take their guidance and use their experience to build your own career path as well. And since childhood I always loved maths, so that's the reason I have a passion for finance, and I wanted to pursue it ahead, study ahead as well in it. And there's a very wrong mindset that only boys should go abroad to study, but I don't agree with that view. I always had the opportunity to do whatever I wanted, and that's the reason why I was very motivated to do my graduate degree and have a good career base and excel in it further. My influencers have always been my parents, my professors, and my peers. Lessons from academic journey, I would say that I would recommend students who are wanting to apply abroad to select a program which has a lot of scope ahead, which gives you a lot of scope in the market as well to pursue your career ahead in different paths. And I would even tell you all to look at the pandemic situation that is going on, because the pandemic is really affecting a lot of people. Like currently it's affecting my job search over here, but it's even affecting the students who have actually got their admits in. Their admits have been postponed, or it depends from university to university. So I would like to tell you all that you should check out the university websites, get in connection with the international services so that you have a better knowledge about what is going to go ahead, what's going to happen ahead, if it's online education or offline education. And I would say that you should have a better scope for internship if you have a 2-year program in the US, because 1-year programs do not provide you the opportunity to go in for an internship. So I would suggest you all for going for 2-year programs. So then once you have an internship, once you complete a year, you can apply and then get an internship and then convert it into a co-op, which you can basically work full time, and then you can convert that job into a full-time job as well once you graduate. So it's easier for your job search as well. And on planning where to study, I would say that you all should online research a lot about the programs available abroad, and even check the entrance requirements for it, because every university has different kind of entrance requirements like GMAT, GRE, TOEFL, IELTS. Every university has their own specifications, so you should check it out with the university website itself. And I would say that admissions should mostly be of your choice, as they were of my choice. Like I selected a university which was affiliated with the CF Institute, which is helping me a lot ahead as well, once to build my career ahead as well. To even like once I graduate, it's a better thing to have a university which is affiliated with something like that. So I would tell you all to look into that as well, if something is affiliated with the things based on your program. And I would also suggest you all to timely apply for scholarships, as my admissions are very late. So then it was very difficult for me to apply for scholarships to a lot of places because there were deadlines for it. So I would say you all should plan it well in advance so that you know where all you can apply and what the deadlines are. And the key points that I would talk about the issues for young Zoroastrians is that when you all are planning abroad, you all should look in for STEM programs in the US, because STEM programs provide you a 3-year opportunity to work over here, and non-STEM provide you 1-year opportunity. And in STEM programs, you even get a lot to apply 3 times to the lottery system as well to get an H1B. In non-STEM, it's only 1 year, so it's the upper hand when you have a STEM program. And I would even tell you all to look at the return on investments from the program. So, and even look at the climatic conditions also where the college is located, because you need to be able to adapt to the climatic conditions over there. And now I'll pass it on to Farzin, and she'll tell you about her experience.
Thank you, Nazneen. In my house, my parents always stressed that education was our full-time job. Even though my parents and I didn't always agree on what I should study, they were always supportive in my desire to study. I think I became an educator when I was teaching my little brother to read it, but it took me a few years to realize that that was the career that was meant for me. My parents wanted me to study medicine, so I started my undergraduate degree at the University of Georgia as a chemistry major. I really enjoyed the subject matter, but I realized I wasn't thrilled with the prospect of working in a lab as much as I was teaching chemistry. Thus, after I finished my undergraduate degree, I ended up going straight into my master's program in chemistry education. It was in the middle of this master's program that I realized I wanted to continue my educational journey. Even before I finished my master's degree, I knew I wanted to continue my educational journey to get a PhD. And talking to my professors at Kennesaw State helped me decide to ultimately take a break and to teach for a few years before returning to my pursuit of a PhD. This is perhaps not the right choice for everybody, but I really appreciated the knowledge I gained through my experience teaching, knowledge that I otherwise would not have found in a textbook. And it's okay not to take a linear path. My curved path led me to a job that I love and a career that'll inspire me to continue to learn and grow as an individual for the rest of my life. When choosing a university I want to attend, I would take into account all the resources that a university has to offer, and make a giant pro-con list for yourself. I highly suggest reaching out to the students that are currently in the program. They will be able to provide you with a more authentic list of strengths and weaknesses of the program and the university. If I had it to do it all over again, I would be more cognizant of the cost of school. It would have been better in the long run if I had joined a work-study program while I was working on my undergraduate degree. And my advice would be to start taking advantage of all the university's resources as soon as you start. Don't wait until the last semester to go to the Career Center. If you start talking to your professors, your academic advisors, and career counselors at the beginning of your journey, by the time you finish your degree, you'll have built a network of mentors that will help support you throughout your career. Next, I'll pass it over to my colleague Karishma to introduce herself and to develop a synthesis of our ideas.
Welcome, everybody. We've had 3 speakers from completely different backgrounds at different stages of their career. When I mention the word career, I suppose it's nice for us to all think about the combination of education, a career, a job, and entrepreneurship. Now, my background is very much neuroscience. I have a PhD from the University of Cambridge, an MSc from the Tata Institute of Fundamental Research. I've received a lot, and I constantly think about how I can give back, and that gave me many opportunities in my life. I've never had to apply for a job. It was given to me, offered to me. So being a person who has worked on merit, my parents have given everything to me. But working on merit is something that all 3 people that we've talked to today or listened to today have talked about. They've all got where they are because of their meritorious success. So Zenhar's actionable agenda, Nazneen's balancing benefit, and Farzin's communicating and connecting are 3 very important keys that will open the lock to success. Together with this, they all have a common background. They all value what their parents have given them. and they all are happy to change. So this is a very beautiful theme that three of them have sort of created a fabric today. The weft and the weave of what they've said has given us all something to think about. So what I'd request you all to do is in your chat box, if you could please list your questions. If you could please name your panelist with your question, then Farrokh will be able to take your questions and address them to the particular speaker. Think about also how your choices that you're going to make can lead to your success, so that when you ask the three speakers who have made fantastic choices in their life based on collecting the right knowledge at the right time, like Zenhar said, creating a timeline. Then as Nazneen said, having a very pragmatic approach, having a passion and persevering towards it. And then as Farzin said, being ready with all the knowledge at the right time and all the connections so that one can ask for help in order to continually change, modify, and achieve one's target. And I hand you over to Farrokh.
Right, thank you, Karishma. So I see that the chat box is not active yet. So maybe there are people who'd like to put their hands up. Oh, anybody who'd like to put their hand up and say something or ask their question?
Farrokh, I think some questions have started pouring into the chat box.
Great. So Firdosh Balsara says, in the current pandemic, when is the right time to go to the USA for pursuing masters? Is March or spring quarter would be, is it March of the spring quarter? Would the campus classes commence? So what's going to happen? So who'd like to take that question? Question is, when is it likely that universities in the United States will be open to taking in international students?
May I?
Yes.
Yeah, so currently, as per the current situation, they have postponed it to next fall intake, which will be September. And the next semester, as you mentioned, spring, it's going to be mostly online. So I don't think so you'll have to be coming, you'll have to come over here to the US. It'll be online. Otherwise, I would always prefer to take in for fall intake. And for the timing, they're saying it's fall, but it depends upon the COVID situation ahead as well over here. So you'll have to just keep on getting connected with the university and get connected with the international services and ask them what is the update on it. So that will be more helpful for you.
What I've noticed with these around me, particularly in Georgia, every university seems to have a different policy. So I would get in touch with the university that you are looking to study at particularly and make sure that you keep updated with them. Various universities have said that they would be willing to extend online classes for the next 2 semesters, and some of them are not giving students that option.
There are a number of questions dealing with scholarships for study in the United States. So who would like to tackle that? Farrokh Rustamji, would you like to, since you're part of the RD Setna Trust, would you like to provide an overview first? Farrokh?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. I've heard the speakers and the students about their journey for higher studies. Now, I'd like to caution them, at least for the new students who are planning studies abroad, is that while you're choosing your universities, it is very important to know your subject specialists, which university is good for your subject, its rankings, and its recognition by the local government, because unless the university is recognized by the local governments, funding will be very difficult. And apart from the funding, if you qualify, your job prospects also are curtailed because the university is not recognized or things like that. So one must do some research properly with the local country consulates. In Bombay, we are very fortunate that the US consulate has a special study center, and also the French and the British. So we are able to get information from there. But nowadays, information is available worldwide on the net. So do your research about the university well in advance, and then start applying for scholarships. I'm from the R.D. Setna scholarships, and we grant hundreds of students scholarships every year. These are all loan scholarships which you repay in installments after you have completed your studies and you start earning. And we are very flexible, and we are one of the largest in the scholarship domain. There are also scholarships available from the Tata Trust and others. If anybody would like to have more information, they should just email to me, and I will share all the news and information with them, and also guide them where to apply, when to apply, and how things work out. Also, we have a program whereby if a scholar is selected by the Zoroastrian Faculty Network, the funding is much more substantial than what others would get. And I recommend that you keep in touch with the Zoroastrian Faculty Network, go to our website, all the details are mentioned there, all the trust names are mentioned along with the addresses and contact numbers. And this is an excellent platform for students for higher studies. And as you have seen, we conduct regular webinars with subject specialists and people connected with the universities. Thank you.
Thank you. So regarding scholarships, I want to, I've been a professor since 1976 in Australia and the United States. Regarding scholarships, what is extremely important is to have a high grade point average. What is important is that you apply for a PhD and not a master's. In the United States, if you apply for a master's, the chances of you getting a university scholarship drop to 20%. It is the apply for a PhD, whether in STEM fields or the humanities or the social sciences, who are likely to get some form of financial aid. Now, next month, on November 15th, we're going to have a special webinar on finances and organizing finances. So I recognize finances are very important. The message I want to pass on to you is that you need to focus on increasing your grade point average. You need to focus on strengthening your application so that the universities to which you apply find you to be a worthy candidate and give you admission, so that then getting into a good university will help you get the scholarship that you're looking for. So I'm not going to talk any more about scholarship because we are going to be dealing with that in the next webinar. There's a question here. Any tips for applying to the USA for a student visa? So who would like to take that?
I could take that.
Thank you.
When you so basically first you need to receive your admit from the university, and once you receive the admit letter, then you'll receive a I-20 documentation through which you can apply for a student visa. So only once you receive the I-20 you can proceed ahead. So till then you'll have to wait for the I-20.
Great. There's another question. What is the best course for an undergraduate for a career in business and economics? Who'd like to take that? Nazneen?
Yes. So there are a lot of
Zenhar?
here. Like
No, first Nazneen, then Zenhar, then Bezan. Go ahead.
So in business and economics, you can pursue a lot of things like accounting, finance. You can pursue your bachelor's in mass media. There are a lot of opportunities over here and a lot of different specializations that you can do. So it all depends upon what your preferences are and what you want to focus in.
Zenhar and
Yes.
Bezan?
Yes, Farrokh, thank you. Thank you for that question. like Nazneen said, business and economics, there are many different specialist areas. I would always recommend someone to be a specialist and then move into the general sort of business area to do an MBA or something later on. Now, I did my master's at my MBA at the London School of Economics after doing my engineering degree. You have to also start working backwards. What do you want to achieve by doing that business degree? Is it to open your own business? Is it to get a job in an investment bank? So you need to be pretty clear, at least that's what helped me. You need to be pretty clear with what your goal is and then work backwards with regards to that. And then obviously start looking at what your return on investment would be for that business degree. Because what I've realized is that business, economics, and management degrees tend to be more, anything with the business school in a foreign university tends to be more expensive. So you need to really understand what your return on investment would be if you get involved with the business school. So that would be my recommendation.
Great. Bezan?
Sorry, I think I put up my hand mistakenly. I don't have anything to add to the undergraduate.
No, to answer the question, since you're working in industry, what sort of degree would be helpful for somebody who is looking to work in industry and business?
Okay, if you take it from that angle, at least in Europe, I see that most of the youth that are from these countries in Europe move towards finance and economics, and there's quite a big gap in the qualified technical people required for the high-tech industry or the production-based industries. So if you're looking to work in the industry, for example, in the semiconductor or the electronics or the automotive industry, technical master's degree is really powerful and helpful as a stepping stone to that end goal.
Thank you. Firdosh Balsara has said, my son has received admission in MFA in Industrial Design at Savannah College of Arts and Design in Savannah, Georgia. What is the scholarship opportunity and reputation of the university? Scholarship opportunities we will deal with in the next webinar. Both my wife, Professor Janet Allen, and I are familiar with the Savannah College of Art and Design. We spent 5 years in Savannah. And please email us and we'll give you further information about it. What is your opinion of joining online classes in the USA before actual doing on campus? One of the panelists like to comment on that? Janet, go ahead.
So my understanding is that if you only do online classes, that you may have trouble getting a visa. So you have, if you want to have a visa for the United States, you have to actually be on campus for some portion of the first semester you're involved in the classes. On the other hand, if you want to pay the fees and proceed starting in the starting your degree, many universities will accept courses that are not from their university, but you have to clear that with the university first. You have to be absolutely sure that what you are doing is acceptable. But you will not probably be able to start your degree actually until you get a visa to the United States and come here and go to class in person.
The next question, I would like to apply for a master's studies for veterinary surgery or medicine in the UK or the US. Which country would be better option, all things considered, such as ROI and job availability? Hoshida, my response to you is you need to do your homework. But this is something for you to find out. And if you say you're going to do a master's degree, typically that does not a competitive statement, because what professors are looking for are people who want to do PhDs. If all you want to do is, and are thinking in terms of 1-year masters or a 2-year masters and then going on with your life, professors are less interested in investing in you because the professors get very little out of it. So Karishma and Farrokh, can you provide an overview of what it's like to pursue a PhD in the US or UK? So Karishma, I call on you to share your experience about the PhD in the United Kingdom.
It's been a very great joy to do a PhD here. People are very supportive. My first point is watch your grades. If you're a meritorious candidate, people will go out of their way to make things easier for you and help you. Second, here 1 year after the first year, one has to put in an application to continue. So it's first an MPhil if it's at the University of Cambridge. In other places, it works out slightly differently, but it's basically this. 1 year, then put in an application with a report. So get used to writing reports, being accountable together with being responsible for your progress. Then apply for your scholarship well in advance so that it covers your entire duration of the course. So grades, scholarship, look at the university that you will be happy with, because a happy student is generally a successful student. Then when you're doing your PhD, I was given the opportunity to teach, not out of choice, but because my professor was somebody who was traveling a lot. So I started teaching after the first 1 month of being here. And I was teaching medics and vets who were sometimes older than me, sometimes with 2 or 3 degrees. So get the maximum education you can from India. India is highly recognized and a lot of respect is given for our degrees from there. Do your best, apply for your scholarship, be prepared to be flexible, teach early, etc. And then when you're submitting your applications, start early so that they see that you're willing to contribute through your academics. So start looking for where you want to go by, say, your 2nd or 3rd year, so that you're designing your program for where you want to go. So your trajectory is very important.
Thank you, Karishma. I want to add to what Karishma has said. The question that I'm going to address is, what's the difference between a bachelor's degree, a master's degree, and a PhD? At the bachelor's level, we typically show you how to solve problems, show you how to solve simple problems. At the master's level, we provide an opportunity for you to learn how to frame a problem. This happens if you do a thesis or do an internship, as has been suggested by Nazneen. At the PhD level is to learn how to frame and create knowledge, acquire knowledge. Jobs at the bachelor's level can get outsourced, automated and outsourced, computerized. If you have a master's degree, you will have a better possibility of retaining your job, but not as much as you would have if you get a PhD. In the United States, there is a lovely website. It's the Bureau of Labor Statistics website. And once you get to that, you type in education pays. And then you look at the different fields, whether it's humanities, social sciences, education, engineering. And you will then go and take a look at the difference in pay that people get between a bachelor's and a master's and a PhD, and also the unemployment rate. And you will find that people with PhDs earn a lot more than people with a master's or a bachelor's, and also that their unemployment is much less. So with that, I'd like to move on to the next statement again from Firdosh Balsara. What is your STEM course versus a master's in the USA? And if you're just going to do a master's, then it is the chances of you getting a job and continuing in the United States doing a STEM degree is much higher than if you do a degree. This reinforces what Nazneen talked about a few seconds here. But if you are to just do a master's, then you're up a bit, particularly in the United States. Now, that is different if you went to Australia or New Zealand or Canada. Now, my advice to everybody is seriously think about Australia, New Zealand, Canada, and also Singapore. Singapore has an outstanding education system. Why? Because coronavirus is not an issue. And the degrees from are recognized. Getting permanent residence and citizenship in New Zealand and in Australia and in Canada are much, much easier than the United States. I cannot speak for the United Kingdom. Canada is now very important. You should have included Hoshidar Polad from Canada. Please send me his, whoever wrote that DT87, please send me the email address, put me in touch with Hoshidar Polad, and we will pull him into the conversation. There's another question, Jehan, to everyone. Is it difficult to apply for a PhD abroad after an MSc from India as compared to applying for a PhD after an MS from the same country? Janet, would you like to answer that?
So there are professors that are happy to take you from either place. It's important that you do well in your master's degree, probably having written a thesis, which will give you some advantage to do research. So that's what I recommend.
Anybody else, any panelist would like to answer that question? About the United Kingdom?
For the United Kingdom, my experience is this. A master's by research from India, which is what I did from the Tata Institute of Fundamental Research, is extremely highly valued because it's a 3-year program. In this country, in the UK, the masters are generally 1-year programs. They are squashed programs in general, but it's not true for every course. It's not true for every avenue that you're taking. Each individual job, each individual master's has to be evaluated very carefully based on the knowledge you have about that area. If you don't have the knowledge, my suggestion is you ask people. So to come back to the question, an Indian master's is very highly valued in general. It will depend on the university one is from, the course one is doing, and the professors one has been able to communicate with. I did 3 honors programs every year during my undergraduate course. I did an honors program, the first in genetics, then organic chemistry, then spectroscopy. Zenhar mentioned very correctly, the more qualifications one has with the greater merit, I'm paraphrasing what he said, the greater the success rate, the greater the respect one earns. So yes, Indian masters have great value, they're honored greatly, and I would think very carefully before jumping into education in a foreign country by devaluing what we have in India. I think we have to show value for what we have and do the best with what we've got, and then go on to contribute in the foreign country as much as we can. And then you'll see the result from their side is phenomenally different. Back to you, Farrokh.
So I endorse what Karishma has said. Don't look down on what opportunities you have in India and Pakistan. Janet and I have had students from all over the world, and we've had people who've come after their bachelors, we've had people who've come after their masters. We are very careful in selecting people who come after both the bachelors and the masters. When we invite people to work with us after their masters, we take a look at what publications they have. And the candidates who come to us from Iran and China, they have publications before they come to us applying for a PhD. Candidates from India, typically after their masters, do not have publications. This is a limitation. So when you do your masters in India, plan on publication. Vabis, any advice for finding a PhD in the UK? Yes. Go ahead.
For PhD in the UK, first grades, then design your timeline. Like Zenhar said, it needs to be an actionable agenda. So grades, scholarship first. For your scholarship, at least my experience is this, you will need to write an application. Now that application needs to show the passion, the area of interest, and a well-designed, not blinkered view, but a well-strategized view on what course one wants to investigate, what the question is. Being quite specific, yet being flexible, being able to network into the laboratory or the area that one is going to study in is as important as being very focused upon the question one is addressing. One then writes out a good plan, keeping the question in mind and keeping how one will be able to use the resources. So writing a plan that is not feasible based on the lab one is applying to, however good that plan is, does not guarantee a higher success rate. I shouldn't use the word guarantee, but does not qualify for a higher success rate. So it needs to be a reasonable, well thought out plan, optimizing the resources that are available in that university. So not a good plan for a different course in a totally different university. That shows that the candidate has done their background reading well. That comes across as a very strong candidate. It helps with getting a scholarship. It helps with getting respect from one's peers and one's laboratory and one's professor. The professor then can go out of their way to make that journey helpful. For example, I was invited by the University College London for the first Wellcome Trust scholarship. The same year I got a scholarship from the Cambridge Nehru Trust from Cambridge. After I got my admission to Cambridge, they said, we'll pay for you to come visit and choose between the Wellcome UCL scholarship and the Cambridge Nehru scholarship and the two universities. So bottom line, timeline, homework, know your knowledge, know why you're making your choices, know what choices there are, and discuss very carefully with your parents at home so that a student ends up being a strength to their parent framework. For all that we have received from our parents for decades and decades, we end up actually being a strength to our parents with respect. We value our parents, people value us in a foreign country. Same way we value our education in India, they value us. Back to Farrokh.
Thank you. Hushra Buhariwala has a question directed to Zenhar. Firstly, I wanted to say how amazing it is to actually see you in person, as having passed out of Campion only 2 years back myself. I spent 10 years in Tagore Hall, seeing your name on the school captain's board. Coming to my question, I have recently been offered a place in the aerospace engineering course at the University of Bristol, still pending other replies. Are there restrictions, biases to Indians applying for jobs in the UK companies, especially in STEM? I'm going to answer it first from the US perspective, then to Zenhar. Anybody who's planning a career in aerospace engineering and wants to study in the United States, I would advise strongly against it, because getting an internship in US aerospace companies is extremely difficult, if not impossible. So unless you're a US citizen or a permanent resident. So if you are, okay. But if you are not, you're an Indian citizen, forget it. So with that, Zenhar, question to you.
Thank you, Farrokh. Hushra, nice to meet a fellow Campionite. So I did a similar journey to you. I went to Campion and then 2 years and then went abroad to do my undergraduate in engineering. Bristol is a good university. One of the upsides of Brexit will be that visas, which were anyway, if you graduated from here, you got a 2-year visa. And that's exactly what I did. And I was a British citizen within 5 years. It's not that easy in other countries. It will be easier now coming from January because there's no European Union laws or anything like that. It's equal opportunity to everyone. When you say discrimination based against Indians, you have to remember that, there's an Indian who is the Home Secretary, who's the Finance Minister, who's the Business Secretary in the UK. Indians are almost everywhere, so it's almost part of the establishment now, to be honest. I have a friend actually who's done aerospace engineering from, I think it was from Birmingham University. He's now working over here at Rolls-Royce. So I can put you in touch with a few people. I'll share my email. Feel free to email me. There are a lot of opportunities. You have to get security cleared, but it'll be easy with someone from your background to get that security clearance. So I don't see that as an issue at all. So I would really encourage you to go ahead with your decision if that's your passion.
Great. So then it's a question here. Would it be easier to shift to New Zealand with job via a master's degree from India, or would it be wiser to look for a PhD? I'm sorry, Barbies, we cannot answer that question. If you email me, I will put you in touch with a lady in New Zealand who is in a better position to answer that question. Would you recommend staying on campus or off campus for doing masters? How does one search? I'm referring to Savannah College of Art and Design for my son. Firdosh, please get in touch with me by email and I will answer that question separately. Zenhar, why do you want to come back to India to pursue entrepreneurship when ease of starting up is greater in the West?
Thank you for asking that question. Like I said, I've lived 18 years in India now. I've lived about 14 or 15 years over here in the UK, or West as you'd like to call it. It depends on everyone's individual circumstances and their situation. I would say that India has massive opportunity. I genuinely believe that for our generation, the Indian economy is very different, in a very different place where it was about 20, 30, 40 years back. And I believe India will be the future. So that is my personal belief. And that's something I would do. I wouldn't recommend it for everyone. But I genuinely believe that there are opportunities in India that are worth exploring, that are worth encouraging. And after all, we have to remember, we Parsis have been very successful doing business in India, right from Jamshedji Jijiboy to the Palanjis to the Tatas to the Godrejes, and we young Parsis should aspire to be like that, or even better than that. And that's something we should really look forward to. And that's my belief. So that's what I would like to do.
This will be the last question in this session. I'm Rustam Besania. I'm looking for an MS in AI machine learning. Which country should we choose? Because in the US this time there are visa issues and new laws which Trump wants to implement, which can be a problem. Should we just leave US and consider Australia and Canada, UK, etc., or the country doesn't matter? Should we choose the right university which is best for us? This is open to all the panelists. So let's start with Zenhar. Your answer to that question.
Like I mentioned in my presentation earlier, looking at the immigration policies of the country is vitally important, because I've known many people who have gone, studied abroad, spent a lot of money, and not been able to get that return on their money by working abroad. Some people don't want to, some people wanted to earn back that money that they spent. I would really look at what the post-graduation immigration opportunities are. I've shared my email, so if anybody wants to know what post-graduation opportunities are in the UK, I'm happy to let people know that. Like I said, when you do graduate, you get a 2-year visa. And post that, from January, the new laws are quite simple. All you need is a job and the ability to speak English, which I'm sure most of the Parsi, Iranis, Zoroastrian students from India, Pakistan, Iran will be able to fulfill. So there'll be great opportunity to do that. Looking at other countries is important as well, but do your research. Just what Farrokh mentioned upon. I'd really recommend you do your research on that.
Great. Nazneen.
Yeah, so as I mentioned that STEM programs over here provide you with 3 years, but it all depends upon when your admit takes place and the rules and regulations at that point of time. So you cannot say that today the regulation is this, I can apply through that. So when I applied, I could easily get a 3-year STEM program, and once even the rules change, it's not going to affect me since my admissions are already done and I've already secured my visa with a 3-year OPT period. So it all depends upon when you're applying as well, in particular. Yeah.
Great. Farzin.
I would look at the opportunity holistically and look at the visa in connection with the financing that you get from the university, with the context of the professors that you'll be working with. I wouldn't make my decision based on just one aspect of it. I think all three are really important to look at when you're trying to find a university that's a good fit for you, because you do want to find a job once you graduate, but you want to make sure that you are in a good place financially to be able to stay and pay off any loans that you occur in the process as well.
Karishma.
I think the question was on artificial intelligence. Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's two parts. One is artificial intelligence, and the second is, should we give up the...
Okay, so answer to that in one part. Artificial intelligence is a very broad scope field. So my first suggestion is identify the area that you can contribute to the best, what is your passion and what you will be good at. It's a very rapidly progressing field. Then through Coursera, Stanford and Columbia both give out free courses. So I would suggest doing those 2 online courses before, or if you've already done them, great. Then put together a portfolio based on your interest and match it to the university. When it's a fact-based, knowledge-driven application, you will find your path yourself. So find what you're interested in, find the people, do the courses, find where you can contribute the greatest. Then look at what Farzin said in regard to how you can choose your university, and then look at what you want to do later on. So the connections that you want to make between your projects that you will do both in your free courses and in your own time, the field that you want to get into, and then choose the kind of job you would want to target. Based on that, choose the university and the country that you want the experience within, because it's also an experience that you've got to enjoy. So that's my answer.
Thank you. So now we are moving to the last part of this conversation, and Karishma is going to introduce that portion.
Okay, we've heard from 4 different people. I'm going to count Vezan here as well as the 4th young person we've heard from. And the commonality between all the 4 young people we've heard from is that individuals are being empowered by the parents, teachers, and elders. I apologize for the capitals for each one. I'll take them out the next time I do the slide. Therefore, it's a responsibility that we carry as younger people to all the input that we have received to make our choices based on knowledge. Please replace the word fact with knowledge, so that we can develop a kind of free thinking that is free from bias, based on knowledge, that is well reasoned, and that takes into account guidance that we receive from our lecturers, from our parents, from discussions that we have with our parents at home, forming a very strong team. So the Yasnaha 30 has got 30.2, has got timeless knowledge that is time tested and given to us about 10,000 years ago. It says, Trauta Geusha Vahishta, hear everything with your ears, hear the best teachings with your ears. Avainata Sucha Mananga, ponder over it with your bright intellect, which means we must develop a bright intellect. Avarena Vichitya Narem Narem, think of the belief that you want to form with your own choice, each one for oneself. Kakaya Tanuye, for your own self. Paramaze Yongho, Ammai Ne Sazdeai Badonta Paiti. Before each great event, at this time, our students are at an event of choosing one's future trajectory. Learn, be alert to learning, and develop an intelligence that protects one, which is what Farrokh, the ZFN, the WZCC are giving us the opportunity to do. Then create a timeline that's a strategized timeline. It's got actionable events. It has a destination that may change, like Farzin said, maybe a curveball. That's fine. Be able to adapt to change. And right through that journey, our suggestion probably is listen to everything, ask questions, and value the support that our parents and elders give us so that we can take responsible decisions based on our knowledge that we acquire, so that we can then add value back to the society we're in and develop entrepreneurship at every level, even through helping others around us. It's a kind of academic entrepreneurship. So I wish you all the very best. Thank you, Farrokh.
So we now come to the closing remarks. Farzin.
I am really interested in talking with you guys individually. If you want to reach out to me, I have completed 2 degrees in the US. So if you want to reach out, please feel free.
Zenhar.
Hi, everyone. It's nice that you all managed to dial in today and take time out of your busy weekend. So I really appreciate it. We've all put this group together, thanks to Farrokh and everyone who's brought us together to inspire young people. And like we said, if even we can help even one of you all in your journey in wanting to study abroad or wanting to have better opportunities, please do let us know. Those are my contact details, LinkedIn as well as my email. feel free to email me, ask me any questions, especially when it comes to studying in the UK, immigration in the UK. I've come to this country, I've studied, I'm a UK citizen now. So if there's any way that I could help you, because I've been in your situation, I've been exactly where you were sitting about 14, 15 years ago, deciding to leave India to come over here. So it's great meeting you all. It's great talking to you all. And I hope we can all stay in touch.
Nazneen.
Yeah, I would like to say that, as you all know, that I just came last year to pursue my graduation over here. I would be very happy to help all of y'all who are actually applying this year or next year as well, and whoever wants to know more about STEM and STEM programs or even application, that would be really happy to help. My contact details are mentioned over here, and I would even like to thank the ZFN and WCHCC to even organize this, and I hope it's going to be for good amount of help to you all.
Yes, Steve.
Hi, I hope you have enjoyed the inspiring stories of our young professionals, and we are all here to help you, WZCC as well as Zoroastrian Faculty Network. We are all there to help you. The recording of this entire session will be available on our website within 48 hours. You can put up your queries and comments also on our website on this particular event, and we will be able to respond to you. Or you can directly get in touch with Farrokh or Farzin or Zenhar or Nazneen as per their. I would also urge you to subscribe to our blog at zoroastrianfacultynetwork.org so that you can get updates and you can just browse through and find out various scholarships, both Zoroastrian as well as non-Zoroastrian scholarships are all put up there. And finally, I would also urge all of you to do what you enjoy doing, and then you will not have to work for the rest of your lives. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm delighted to acknowledge the support that we have received for this from Yazdi Tatra, who has managed the web, has put things together for us. Il Dava and Beram Pasakia, who helped us in putting this talk together. And of course, the panelists. As it was mentioned earlier, we are providing this series, the series of conversations, with the idea of providing an opportunity for people to take charge of their own lives and their own education. One of the things that I have found is that people or the younger generation is not willing to take charge of their own lives. It's very important in this day is that you do take charge of your lives. That means go out and find information. This information is available to you on webs. This is available in Google. Go out and find this stuff for yourself. And as was mentioned by Yazdi, do that which is right for you. Get the information from all over, from different sources. But in the end, do that which you feel comfortable about. Think about Yasna 30.2 that Karishma took us through and follow the dictum in that. First, listen, then think. Then in the context of your values, what you believe to be right, what you wish to achieve in your life, go ahead and make the decision. So it's not that you go along and say, I'm going to do AI and machine learning, and therefore I'll be able to live extremely well for the rest of your life. AI and machine learning is a means to an end. What you have to look for is an education where you gain competencies that are career sustaining, not just short term. And so, so what we have planned are 3 additional webinars. And the next one will be on November the 15th. And in that webinar, we will be dealing with issues of finance. How do you organize finance? What do you do about it? The emphasis will be helping you to do the homework, go out and look for information, etc. The one that the other two that follow in November and December, December and January, will deal with what happens when you leave the country. How do you prepare for leaving the country? And the one in January we will be focused on how do you adjust to the new country that you get to. So with that, I'm going to end the formal portion of this webinar, but all of us will continue to be out here to answer questions that people may have for us. So thank you all very much. This brings to an end the formal part of the webinar, and yes, you can stop recording. So now we can have the dialogue.